Alright folks, here we have a map of the US with the Big Ten teams. I did forget to add in Michigan State, so we'll just pretend that they don't even exist in this simulation here. So we have Washington, Oregon, USC, UCLA on the west coast. In the middle we have Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Northwestern, Purdue, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio State. And on the East Coast, we have Penn State, Maryland, and Rutgers. Alright, this is going to be a World War map type simulation with the Big Ten teams. We're going to see which team comes out on top. And I'm going to go ahead and put this at 2 times speed. And we're going to go ahead and hit play. I have the side screen here with landmass, and we'll see which Big Ten team will come out on top. There is no revolt song, so it's anybody's game to see who will win here. Right off the bat, Northwestern is trying to take out Nebraska. Ohio State's fighting Indiana, Michigan, and Purdue. So far, no Big Ten team has been eliminated. And Ohio State's out first. Look at this. Ohio State is the first team eliminated from this competition. Nebraska next is fighting Minnesota. They pieced out. I'm going to pause for a second so I can turn down this music. Settings. My goodness, that music was loud. Alright, hopefully y'all can hear me better now. So right now, Northwestern has the most area by far. Then it's UCLA and then Nebraska. Hit continue. Alright, Northwestern and Purdue is fighting. Washington and Minnesota were fighting, but they pieced out. Purdue is now fighting again. Oh, now we have Oregon and Washington fighting again. And Illinois. Oh, wow. Who was that just got eliminated? Indiana just got eliminated by Illinois. Nebraska is now fighting UCLA. Oregon took out Washington. Purdue is fighting. Looks like Penn State might have been. Penn State is now out. Penn State is out. Oh, surprise! Northwestern got eliminated by Illinois. Oh boy. Nebraska seems to gain the most out of that. Purdue is fighting Maryland. Minnesota is fighting Iowa and Oregon. They pieced out. Alright, now we have USC fighting UCLA. And Nebraska and Wisconsin both fighting Minnesota. And Michigan fighting Rutgers and Maryland. Illinois is having a 3-way battle between Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Purdue, but they pieced out. Now it's Nebraska against UCLA again. We'll see how this goes. Okay, they pieced out. Minnesota's fighting a 2-front war against Iowa and Oregon, but they pieced out. Now it's Nebraska's turn, but they're fighting a 4-front war. 5-front. Looks like Iowa might be the next to go. And Iowa has been eliminated. Iowa is still fighting. Oh, USC was beat by UCLA. Nebraska is fighting a lot of teams right now. They pieced out. Nebraska, Purdue, and Wisconsin, and Michigan are all fighting Illinois. Illinois is moving in on Purdue and Wisconsin. Almost took them both out. Michigan is fighting Rutgers and Maryland again. Illinois is once again fighting a 4-front war. Oh, who was that? Maryland was just beat by Michigan. Michigan is fighting Rutgers. Oh, look at that. Purdue was just conquered by Illinois. And Illinois is beat by Nebraska. Wisconsin is now out as well. Alright, we have Nebraska, Michigan, USC, Oregon, Minnesota, and Rutgers left. Alright, Nebraska by far has the biggest landmass. Michigan is fighting Rutgers now. Nebraska is fighting a 3-front row against Minnesota, Oregon, and USC. Oh, they're fighting back against Nebraska now. Oh, Nebraska ran out of money. See if they can peace out. Okay, they peaced out. Michigan is fighting Minnesota and Rutgers. Rutgers has been eliminated. Michigan's going to gain all that land for free. Nebraska once again fighting a 3-front war. They really don't need to be doing this. They're fighting too many at a time. They just need to do one war fights. They peaced out again. It's been 90 years since this simulation has started. Once again, Nebraska's fighting a 2-front war. They're pushing back USC, but they're losing ground to Minnesota. Peaced out again. Minnesota is going against Nebraska. Nebraska moved the capital, and they have been eliminated. The final 4 are Minnesota, Michigan, USC, and Oregon. I know I spelled Minnesota wrong, but it's okay. Now it's Oregon going against USC and Minnesota. They peaced out. Now it's Michigan fighting Minnesota. Minnesota gained the most out of the Nebraska fall. You have Oregon fighting USC and Minnesota also fighting Michigan. Minnesota's now only fighting Michigan. Michigan is getting money from Oregon, and USC is feeding Minnesota. USC and Minnesota are going against Oregon, while Minnesota is still only fighting Michigan. Oregon had to move the capital again. Oregon's almost out of this. Michigan ran out of money, and Oregon fell to USC. Alright, final 3. We have Minnesota, USC, and Michigan. Who's going to be the Big Ten champion? Alright, Minnesota is now fighting Michigan again. Michigan has run out of money. They can move their capital again. They moved it one more time. They can move it one more time. Michigan has been eliminated. Now it's just USC versus Minnesota. Minnesota has by far the biggest landmass, but will USC be able to beat the odds? Minnesota can move their capital so many times. USC only has 4 places it can move its capital to. Alright, here comes the final war to start them all. Oh, they peaced out again. Minnesota and USC once again going at it. USC is gaining ground on Minnesota. Will the West Coast new team take over the Big Ten? They've pieced out. USC gained a lot of land there. There we go, they're fighting again. USC is continuing to move on Minnesota. They are about even now. Minnesota has run out of money. Minnesota is losing so much ground. They peace out right at the nick of time. Fighting again. Minnesota moved their capital again. And Minnesota has lost it. That means USC is the champion. They've conquered all of the United States and the Big Ten Conference. Will they do it in football this year? That is yet to be determined. But if you want to see more like this, leave a like and subscribe. Peace.